Welcome to Brown's Bag. Today, I'm focused on several things in my bag of interests, including great wine, great friends, and great educational opportunities. These are all wrapped up in one amazing person, Doug Fabbioli, who was named a 2025 Loudoun Laureate. If you're unfamiliar with Loudoun Laurels, it's an organization that highlights individuals like Doug who demonstrate selflessness, integrity, creativity, wisdom, and courage in their service to our community. It also awards scholarships to deserving high school seniors in Loudoun County to help defray the cost of attending a four-year Virginia State Institution of Higher Learning. Doug, who was named the 2024 Grower of the Year by the Virginia Vineyards Association, is a dear friend and colleague. He's well known for his award-winning wines and a great winery, Fabbioli Cellars in Loudoun County. What some don't know about Doug is how focused he is on education. Welcome to Brown's Bag, Doug. I'm so happy to connect with you again.
Margaret, it's a pleasure to be here, and congratulations on this new opportunity with the podcast. I've been reading about it, and it's exciting to see you get that platform, that opportunity.
Thanks. I love to talk. I could talk forever. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to everybody. So I just wanted to lead into what we're going to talk about in terms of education. I love how the Loudoun Laureate honor really brings all you do for our county together. We could spend hours talking about your support for other wineries, your knowledge of the wine industry, your knowledge of grapes, everything, and your great wines, because I love them, and how you help keep Loudoun County's agricultural economy growing. I mean, we're a big agrotourism county, as you know, and you play a big role in that as well. But let's talk today about how you're dovetailing education into those goals. You launched the new ag school in 2008 to provide a venue for local agribusiness professionals to mentor students on farming practices, value-added processes, and hospitality, all rolling into agrotourism, right? So tell us how you launched it and why you launched it, and let's just talk about the ag school.
Well, I guess back in 2008 or around that time, I'd always done a lot of training, a lot of mentoring of folks. I was consulting at the time, but I realized there was more training that people needed than I could do as a one-on-one consultant. So I started out some classes that we were doing, and it basically was called, so you want to get in the wine business. And we kind of taught a little bit. Each class was a different little leg of the different pieces of the industry. And from that was kind of focused on some employers, some folks that wanted to open up their own business. So some entrepreneurs and some executives and things like that. But in the process of that and going through that, I realized we needed to start at an earlier level. So as much as I could do on a higher level to really teach some great wine skills and to make some great product, I needed to focus more on general agriculture within the schools or within the younger folks to kind of get them primed up so they didn't carry $100,000 worth of college debt into the agriculture business because they decided to change careers. We wanted to get these kids earlier. And that's kind of where I started and kept pushing to try and get a foothold and to continue. So finally this year, we've been able to break through with the schools at Loudoun County Public Schools. So that was a big, big step. And that took more than just me. That took a change in the mindset of the school system to recognize the importance of the trades, to recognize the importance of the land. And so we don't just teach farming. It's really, we want to help them understand stewardship. We want to help them. We teach some leadership stuff, certainly the hospitality, the culinary, the agriculture. We touch on a lot of different things at a very simple level with the ag school at this point, just to get these kids interested in getting off the screens and outside and making a career of something where they're going to be a little more physically active and involved with the land is really the goal. So what this is, you're growing it, you're processing it into a product, you're making that product something that, will be sold. And so you're covering all aspects of the business. So another big thing we hit on is entrepreneurism. So when you're starting a business, and agriculture certainly is probably one of the first businesses that I see that we ever had in society. Once we stopped hunting and gathering, we needed to farm. And science goes right along with that. All the science of how to farm and what to farm and all that. But it's that hands-on satisfaction and being able to, even if you're a home winemaker, where you make that product and you're able to give it to a friend, or you're having that at a Thanksgiving dinner of something that you made and created. We do that with baked goods and with other food products and stuff. Wine's obviously a lot longer term and is a little bit more scientific because it's got to last. It's got to be a quality product that's going to be around for years to come. So, if you can learn those little tricks, lots and lots of little tricks is what's going to take you to the next level. And that stuff isn't in a book.
Let's talk a little bit about two things that you did with the ag school.
Okay.
You brought in other people because you knew, like, I need to make a community that's going to make this strong and viable to create this foundation. And everybody brings in their own expertise. You have a lot of expertise in a lot of different topics, but somebody else might be an expert in chicken. That they have an egg market and maybe they sell the poultry later. But agrotourism itself is a huge industry up here, and it's that combination of agriculture and tourism, which we're known for in Loudoun County with the wineries and the breweries and the orchards and things like that. So let's talk a little bit about the different aspects and why, as someone who does this, that you were able to identify how many partners maybe you use now. I know you have the schools, which is great, but how it all started and the different parts of it that you identified.
Well, I think the base that I always kind of go back to, first of all, I like to have somebody who's their own boss. Is that so? There is that entrepreneurial aspect of it. I think that's an important thing. Although in some cases they may be a manager or they may be somebody where they don't own it. That's okay. But depending on the business and how it happens. But we also got to recognize for these kids is that they're not going to run out there and start a business. I always say, I teach them, I say, make your mistakes on somebody else's dollar. Okay. Go to work for somebody, learn how to do it, learn it from the person that's done it. But you also have to find that person that wants to teach it. Not everybody has it in them to give away all their secrets. So finding those mentors that have that mindset, that are willing to share and willing to teach, we want to make sure that we are feeding the kids that opportunity to learn. Also, you've got to have a certain level of grit, especially in agritourism is based on that. Is that people are here, we have work to do. Sometimes it's more sharing of what we've learned to the guests, but we've got to still learn it and we've got to be authentic in that process. It's not just holding up a cow and saying, "Oh, isn't this cool?" Well, there's 50 cows that need to be taken care of. Okay. So it's really interesting to see how one of our partners is Great Country Farms, and
Right.
how they're able to do the farming and share the experience because that's work.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
get off track if all you're doing is sharing or if all you're doing is working.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, you got to do the work and talk about the work sometimes.
Right.
Right. I mean, even in my field, right? Like, I have to still do the work. I can't just talk about the work, even though that's what I'd love to do. So, anyway, let's talk a minute about Loudoun Laurels, because being a 2025 Loudoun Laureate, they started in 2008 as well. I don't know if you know that,
I didn't know that.
but you'll be honored in September at their gala. Every year they do a celebration of life and leadership, at which time they do honor their laureates. And this year it's you and Gertrude Evans, who is a friend of mine, and I love her as well. But they also highlight the scholarship winners. They've given out about $40,000 in scholarships over the years. And I was so excited to see you get this honor because you do so much for our community, Doug. First, let me thank you for that, because it's people like you who make Loudoun County such a great place to live. But you had mentioned earlier that you're doing something now with the schools, which is going to expand this opportunity to give these kids a chance to say, maybe that is something I want to do. So can you tell me a little bit about, what are you guys doing specifically with the schools and how are you going to work with the schools?
So this year, one of the new people that came in is Dr. Michael Grubbs. And Mike he came out here. We had an earlier meeting. He was very excited that he wanted to meet me. He wanted to see the farm. He wanted to understand what's going on here and what we can do. I said, what we've got already that we refined post COVID was this summer camp program. Okay, spring and summer. So when we do this 5-day program, we did it 3 times this year. And the 2 summer programs, because Mike knew his schedule is pretty tight. He's like, listen, I don't see where I can put it into the school. Let's do it in the summer. I'm going to fund it. Let's make it happen. And then let's go from there. We'll be talking soon to go over how did it go? What do we like? What do we want? What does the model look like for for next year, the year after? How can the students get their hands dirty? How can the new ag school be involved? One of the things that we really are hitting on is the school gardens. Every school is supposed to have a school garden. Some are better than others, but that's a good area where I emphasize to these kids, you're going to learn some skills that you'll be able to utilize in the school gardens. Weeding, planting, what a seed does, watering, the conditions that are going to make things grow and the conditions that aren't going to make things grow. So I'm hoping that during the school year this year, we'll be able to get some of the school gardens, even if it's not all, because there's no way I can do them all, but we may be able to assist with some programming like that. We may get some grant money to help that and get some of the infrastructure in to take some of these gardens to the next level. So
Great.
that, I think, is what's going to happen next. We're just
Yeah.
trying to figure it out as we go.
So the kids who are in the summer camps come from
Yes.
Loudoun County Public Schools.
Yeah.
How did they learn about it?
So basically, we started out saying we were going to do rising 9th graders.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it was late in the season when we finally got all the ducks in a row to promote it. And I was very low on signups, just a week or 2 out from my first camp. So I said, listen, it's not going to work if we don't have any kids. So what we did is we changed the age point, and just made it middle school, high school. So we did have a range, which I like the range. And I've worked with the range before, because when you're in a job situation, you're always working with different people. So let's go ahead, and we don't have to have everybody the same. The schools make it easy because this is what we teach. You got older kids and younger kids. Okay, older kids, you're going to learn some leadership skills to help these younger kids. Younger kids, you're going to learn some leadership skills as well. So you know how to behave and how to act and how to be a good follower, but still practicing your leadership skills. So we did end up filling out both programs. Will we change back and try to be rising 9th graders? I don't know. That's going to be a discussion.
Okay.
We're going to have to see. There's a huge world of what we can do. And I'm a big proponent of let's stay small. Let's focus on successes. Let's get done what we can and then grow step by step. We try to take it all on, we'll never get it done. And it's just going to be another loss. So
I love what you said about the range of ages. You don't want to go too far, but having a nice 3-year range is great because you're getting the kids earlier too. I was really lucky because I knew at a very young age what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a writer of some sort, and I'm good at it. But most kids just don't know. And the more
no.
they're exposed to, the more opportunity they have to find that passion.
And there is something to say that what they hope, and in many cases it ends up being this, is that a lot of times by the time you're in high school, you've already made some choices that are going to steer you down a certain path. Okay. And you have to make a certain choices. So we might as well hit them in middle school to give them some of the opportunities. So initially the program started as a workforce development program. So there we're really talking about high schoolers that could go into whether it's summer job or maybe they're going to make this as a career. But, when we get into middle schoolers, yeah, we can't put them to work technically. So
Fair.
we want that exposure. And if we get them for a few years, then we really do get them to a point where now they're a, what we call a junior mentor, and they're getting their hands dirtier more. They've got the gardens at home. They're helping out in the summer and the school gardens, and maybe committing to taking care of a garden in the summer. Because that's one of the big things with the schools is that everybody leaves in the summertime and you can't have access to the garden. And that's when
Oh,
everything grows. So it's really, you've got to find the right plan, and you've got to have somebody that's going to carry something through to make that successful. So when the kids come back from summer, they've got something right there ready to go. But there's got to be somebody that's going to be involved, and they're not going on vacation all summer long.
Laurels are people like you who have committed a great deal of their time and energy and love, honestly, to this county. So tell me a little bit about what it meant to you and how you feel about it and things like that.
Well, first of all, I was surprised. I mean, I was aware of the Loudoun Laurels. I'd attended one of the galas. You're right. I know a number of the folks up there too, and they are my what I refer to as mentors from afar. Okay, is that they aren't sitting there telling me or coaching me, but it's almost like, hero envy or whatever you want to say. I've never felt like I was in that club. I never felt like I deserved to be in that club, to be honored with that membership, with that level of respect, and how everybody's reaching out to me as they are. It's humbling. It makes me realize how I've done, what I've sacrificed, I guess. I mean, my wife always teases me. Colleen's like, you couldn't do any of this stuff if I wasn't here to hold up the rest of the stuff that you're not doing. And it's like, absolutely. And I do give her a lot of credit. She never anything she hears. I love her, and I wouldn't have the support, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do and be that front face if I didn't have the support behind me. But, um, I've kind of, in certain situations, I haven't given up. In other situations, I've seen that little window where I can help this one out. I can do something here. I'm not gonna make a promise and let it drop. I'm gonna carry it through. But whether it be, some of it's through scouting, some of it's through the Ruritans, a lot of it is the new ag school, the time I spent with rural economic development, the time I spent with the governor on the Virginia Wine Board. So a lot of these different pieces kind of came through for me. I helped build an industry, and it's an
Absolutely.
industry that is a part of a culture that somebody along the way said, this is pretty cool, let's keep going. And I just kind of kept going. I mean, I hear some of the challenges out there with, what the challenge with agritourism is, that it works if people come to your farm and buy stuff. Okay. And if my neighbors don't want people driving down my road, it's awful hard to have agritourism. Or we just can't listen to everything that the neighbor complains about. So, but if we don't have that, we don't have the farm, and we don't have the open space, because, nobody's growing corn here just to grow corn. I mean, this land is way too valuable. The costs are too high and everything to just grow commodities. We've got to
Yeah.
grow products that are that next level. And the
Right.
other part of all this is that leadership that we keep learning. We've got to keep learning how to do things better in order to be able to pay for it and make it successful. So
Yeah.
I guess all that adds up to me being honored for, you know, trying to use my head and my heart and my hands to actually make a difference. And that's what I try to preach. And what better way to preach than do?
Yeah.
So
I love
there you
that,
go.
Doug. I love what you said about being the mentors from afar. Because, honestly, if you think about it, that's what you are for a lot of people, I hope. Like maybe they don't even realize it, but if they're over at a different vineyard and they're having a good wine, I can guarantee that your hands have been in that I know that you've helped other vineyards and other wineries get started because I know you, but people don't realize your behind the scenes stuff. And that's why I'm so thrilled that you were honored this year because you helped create this. I mean, you've been here for 30 years, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
started in your home. The Speakeasy now was your first tasting room, and that was in your home. And you're so big now compared to that. And I remember going back then. I love that mentors from afar. You are a mentor from afar. Even if you are a mentor right in person to some people, that's exactly what you are. And I think that's a good lesson for people to maybe even pick up on. Like, if I'm watching this person as a business person or whatever, what is the lesson I can take from that?
And I take that for each of us is that we all need to be a mentor and we all need to have a mentor. And the the key part about being a mentor is that you are acting in a way that you want other people to learn and do. So if you're not acting in good methods, with good conscience, with good morals, with good leadership, with good empathy, then you are creating behind you a wake of terror, okay? A wake of bad people and bad culture. And that's not what we need. We need
Right.
people, we need our leaders to step up and be great on a regular basis. And every day, somebody's watching you, somebody's learning from you, and you don't want to teach the wrong thing. So,
Yeah.
that's just, I don't want to get on my soapbox too high, but that's really what it comes down to.
I love that. Yeah. Well, this is one of the reasons we're friends. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
honest. The stuff that the fact that, like you said, and I think this applies to all the laurels, is the head, I'm working with my head, my hands, and my heart. I mean,
Yeah.
that right there epitomizes what it is to be a Loudoun Laurel, in my opinion. And that's why, just one of the reasons you're in that club, as you called it, because you do that and you are that mentor from afar, or that mentor to this kid who maybe never even realized this was something they would want to do. So, and you are leaving this legacy in this county while you're alive. So good for you. And
Well,
I
thank you.
appreciate.
So,
So,
so one other little note I want to throw out there just on that same subject. So the next thing coming up is uh we're going to be having some students here, student slash winemakers, future winemakers from Canelones, Uruguay. Okay,
oh,
so they're going to be coming, four of them. So we have a sister county down in Uruguay. Okay, and Visit Loudoun has been in front of this, along with the wine industry and others. And what we've done is that we sent three students down there February of 24. Now we have folks coming up here, four of them, for the fall of 25 to do our harvest. We're going to be putting together with that. It's not just, okay, we're going to go and make wine. We're going to show you how we do it. But we want to make sure that there's other education stuff that's going to happen for them here in America, here in Loudoun County. So my next meeting is to talk about what we're going to do. And I'm going to basically take a lot of this stuff from the ag school, the leadership, the mentoring, the training, the ego management for winemakers. Okay. Because we can get awful high on ourselves sometimes. Absorbing criticism, being coachable. Okay. All these different points it gives me the opportunity to take this stuff to a higher level because these young folks have already chosen winemaking as their passion. Okay. I figured out that winemaking was what I wanted to do in 1987 after I got a college degree in business. And then I kind of just continued down that, not knowing that I was going to be wearing the big hat, but kept wanting to go further. And there's that hunger that you've got to have, but also the appreciation for everybody around you, building a team and doing it in a way where people want to not praise you, but respect you.
yeah.
The industry is regarded by the lowest winery. So we always want to work on bringing the bottom up. We want to have great wines, but if 10% are great and the rest is mediocre or less, that's not good. You've got to have that higher bar, and you've got to help everybody raise that bar up as best you can.
That's great. And again, you're going back to what I hear from you, and I've always heard from you, Doug, is building a team, bringing everybody up, creating a community, helping others, and bringing them into a project. I'm very excited to hear about the Uruguay students and seeing more about that. I do want to wrap up soon, but I just really wanted to reemphasize the fact that some of the things that I always hear from you include the teamwork, the relying on other people for what they bring to the table. And I think that's one of the things that I love about watching you and the way you create your own community of like minds, but bringing in other people who may not be of like mind, but they are community. You always do community first. And I think that is also an epitome of being a Loudoun Laurel. It's about the community. It's about our community. We have a great community, and keeping it as the highest level we can is what we should all be doing. So again, I want to congratulate you for being a 2025 Loudoun Laureate with Gertrude Evans. And the Celebration of Life and Leadership Gala is on Saturday, September 27th at the National Conference Center. And if you want tickets or to sponsor the gala, you can go to loudounlaurels.org. And hopefully everybody will go buy a ticket so we can all meet you in person again in September. And thank you so much again, Doug, for what you do for our county and for the schools and for the kids. Thanks to everybody for listening to Brown's Bag and my visit with Doug Fabbioli, 2025 Loudoun Laureate and owner of Fabbioli Cellars and a great winemaker. Thank you so much, Doug, for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.